All right, everyone. Now I'm talking with Gray Hall from GK Houses. Gray, how are you? It's been a while.
Good, doing well. Thanks for having me back on.
So at this point, people know you. They know the drill. Start giving us some stats here for October. How did things pan out? And we can talk a little about November, but how did October stack out for you guys?
Yeah, I feel like a broken record. We've literally been consistent in our rent collection. So we were at 98%. Only had, a handful
Sorry
of
to interrupt you here. Being a broken record during this time is not a that's
it's
not
not a
too
bad
bad
thing.
of a that's not too bad of a thing.
No.
Anyway, sorry.
Oh yeah. Nothing new here, but yeah, 98% collected, only 2% delinquent. So been hovering at 96 to 90, really 97 to 98%. So overall pretty good. Only had a handful of tenants, I think 3 tenants that we posted notice on. And then one we've got a court case actually today. And so overall really good, really high collections, not having too many issues on that front.
So will this be your first eviction court case post-COVID?
Yeah, I think that's made it all the way there. I mean, this tenant just completely ghosted us, and so we've gone through the process. And I listened to the other one. It sounded like a lot of the other PMs had the same feedback of you post and you start going through the process, and then the neighbors tell you they moved out. And so we had one of those up in Longmont. And so that's kind of been the name of the game. They just stopped responding, and the neighbors tell you that, so you kind of have to go through the process for it. But this is the first one we've had where the tenant hasn't moved out. Everybody else has either made a payment plan, paid in full, or just turned in keys and moved out.
Okay. Well, again, I I know it's very, unfortunate for the tenant, unfortunate for that one landlord owns that property, but in the, overall grand scheme of things, those are pretty good odds.
No, yeah, it is. When you look at everything as a whole and the number of properties we've got, it's pretty good odds. I think just making things in bets. And so if you got a rental, you've got a high likelihood of collecting right now, which is awesome given everything. It's good to be consistent and steady in that.
So we are recording this on November 12th. So October was very strong for you.
Yep.
Do you have a sense on how November is panning out for you yet?
Exact same. We're at 96% collected today.
So far through the month?
Yeah, so far through the month. So already at 96, which in COVID times would have been happy with. And so that kind of stuff just trickles in throughout. We've got a number of tenants that they're consistent with payment plans, but they're trying, and so we'll let them pay a couple times throughout the month. And so that number dwindles down, and it'll be probably 97, 98% next month.
And do you have like a rough, a rough percentage for how many tenants were you just working with them to make, just make it work for everyone, like the payment plan structure?
Yeah, it was probably maybe 30 tenants. So about 30 tenants that we were working with on some capacity to get a payment plan together.
And that's that's less than 5% of your portfolio, right?
Yeah. So a very, very small percentage.
Okay. So again, overall, like that's pretty darn good.
Yeah. Very, very happy with that. I mean, in normal times you have that too. So it's honestly not too much different than what we dealt with last year. I mean, you've always.
Oh, what would it be like in normal times?
It was relatively the same. You might have a little bit less payment plans. And so probably some more payment plans, but our collection rates are the same. And so we were always dealing with some amount of payment plans. It was probably double the amount of payment plans, but when you're going from 15 to 30, it's not that big of a deal.
So that's good news because I felt like going into October, November, after the CARES Act extra employment ran out in July, I thought it would take a few months to see if there's dramatic effect, but that's just great news for everyone. So I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, we're all kind of hanging on for that rent cliff that we keep seeing in the media. And from what I've seen in all of our markets, we haven't necessarily seen that. So something could be coming that I don't know about, but from all the data I've got and the feel that I've got for the properties we manage for, I would expect it to continue as is.
So no major red flags or cliffs on the horizon?
No, and you might see some of the more bigger multifamily stuff. I was talking with a multifamily guy who managed a bunch of those, and their collection numbers are lower than ours. And so the single family stuff and small multifamily stuff, we don't operate in that big multifamily space. So maybe in there, that's a big percentage of the available rentals out there. But kind of the spaces that you and I operate in, no big red flags.
Yeah. And I definitely have seen that because I follow like the Apartment Association of Metro Denver, the AAMD data. Yeah. And I think they were reporting at like overall, they were like about a 95% collection for those bigger buildings in quarter three. I might be off by a few percent there, but like it was still pretty darn good.
Yeah. Still pretty good, especially depending on the class and where the building is. And that could not be, too far off normal.
So how is leasing going right now? We're moving into the holidays. We've had the unfortunate uptick in COVID. Any changes in the leasing scene or demand?
So yeah, you got a ton of inventory in the kind of summer months, and so we're getting all the inventory off, and so we've got less move outs. I think nobody wants to move as much in the off season. So when it's cold out here, so things have really slowed down over the past 4 weeks. I was looking at all of the kind of metrics we track, and everything was trending in, I'd say the wrong direction, but we're still leasing places. But I'm saying days on market is creeping up by a few days. The number of showings we're getting per house is creeping down. And so I think maybe it could be the COVID going on. It's just the time of year. I mean, this happened last year. You got the holidays. There's usually a little push right now until Thanksgiving, and then it kind of drops off between Thanksgiving and end of the year, and then another push comes in January. So we're pushing really hard. We're just putting extra effort on getting all the properties off the market. But if it's priced right, it's still going off the market. But still sitting on the market probably 3 weeks. Is the days vacant, and so that's kind of the number we've been seeing right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's the main points. Anything you want to share as you wrap up?
No. A lot of people moving from out of state, just kind of interesting. I was looking through, we had 33 move-ins in October, and about a third of them coming from out of state. And so a lot of the East Coast, West Coast, even a couple Florida. And so
is it New York and California?
Yeah, New York, California, a couple Pennsylvania, Virginia. So some of those kind of easternly states, a lot of people moving here. Just it's a good place to be. And so there's still a ton of demand coming in. So things are slowing down, but it's a natural slowdown, which I think is kind of the evolution of property management kind of over the course of the year out here.
Awesome. Gray, thank you so much. Again, this was Gray Hall of GK Houses. His contact details will be in the show notes. Feel free to reach out for Gray. Gray, thanks so much, man.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris.